Hi, I'm Matt Asner.
And I'm Navah Asner.
And we're the founders of the Ed Asner Family Center. And this is your opportunity to get out there and walk because we're having a walk.
So get together with your grandmother and your relatives and join a team or found a team and, help us to continue supporting the special needs community.
Thank you very much. We'll see you there.
Hi, I'm Isabella Hoffman.
I'm Atticus Baldwin, and we're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Yes, we are.
We are walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
We're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Hi! Oh, hi! We're walking for the Ed Asner Family Center. I'm with it. Let's go! Come on!
Hi, I'm Ed Asner, and I want to thank you for walking for the Ed Asner Family Center.
Hey!
Hello! Happy Friday! Shabbat Shalom, Maddie.
Yes, Shabbat
Shalom. Day drinking again.
Hello, welcome to Center at Home. We're here every Friday at 3 o'clock, bringing you our incredible show.
If you do say so yourself.
If I do say so myself,
From
yes.
the modest Matt Asner.
From the mouth of Matt Asner.
Mouth of Madness.
From the mouth of madness. How are
I
you,
just
Navah?
watched that movie the other night.
What?
Mouth of Madness. I was really disappointed.
Did I see it?
No.
Where was I?
Sleeping.
I was
snoring.
sleeping.
Snoring.
I was snoring.
You were snoring.
Schnozzing.
Yes.
Well, it's another Friday, and we're week 9,000 in our
I don't
COVID
know.
situation.
Do you keep track like that?
Well, it's week 9,000.
No,
Really? Seriously,
realistically.
9,000.
Yeah?
Feels like it. Anyway.
Well, I'm happy because my mom is on the upswing. She's doing so much better.
She is. She was
Thank
walking
God.
around yesterday. It's really great.
She's doing her PT. She walked for the third time today.
Yeah.
And all the prayers that everyone sent to mommy, I just want to thank everyone for that because she's doing so much better. And thank God.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God. And should we talk about the big news?
Let's do it. I don't know what you're talking about, but let's go for it.
What big news is there?
I don't know. There's a lot of big news. There's always
maybe
news.
you don't want me to talk about it.
I don't know what the heck you're talking about.
You made a commitment the other day, didn't you?
I did? We were.
Didn't you make a commitment?
I'm just about ready to.
I think you made a commitment.
About
right?
what?
A new member of the family?
Oh, I don't think we should talk about that.
No?
Yet. No.
Oh, okay. Well, now everyone thinks we're going to have a child coming in or something.
No. That's not a funny joke.
And I have someone calling. Should I answer it?
No. My gosh.
Anyway, well, we started out very silly, didn't we?
Yes. Let's get serious.
But we do have a new member of the family, but we won't talk about that member of the family for a while.
No.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Forget what I said, everyone. Forget what I said. Never mind.
Now we're going to get a million questions about that.
So it's Friday. Do we have big plans for the weekend?
Wow. That's really sad.
What?
It's my birthday on Sunday, and you
I'm
have
joking.
no idea.
I am kidding.
Story of my life. Everyone.
I got you a great present.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
I'm sure.
I did.
I'm sure of it.
It's really
you
nice.
always pick out things that I love.
It's pink.
My least favorite color. Perfect.
It's pink and it's really nice. You heard it here first.
As everyone can tell from the center colors, orange is my favorite color. If anyone wants to send me any orange presents, I'll take them. Safety orange.
Well, maybe I can exchange it for something orange.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, Nava's birthday's on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to celebrate in a very social distancing way.
I'm going to be 28 again. Yeah, right.
She's going to be 28. She is going to be 28. But
I feel 28.
You feel 28?
I do. I feel young, except when I try to get out of bed in the morning.
Really?
Yeah. Then I feel like the Tin Man. And I was just talking to Shannon about this because people with fibromyalgia, so many special needs parents have fibromyalgia. And when you have chronic stress, you feel you have a flare up. It can trigger a flare up. And so since March, we've been having this constant chronic stress condition.
Really?
That's
I
going
haven't
on.
noticed that.
And so anyway, I'm in a constant flare up, and I'm turning into the Tin Man.
Well, you look good.
But that's why swimming is saving my life, because
Yep.
it's the best thing you can do for this condition. Thank God I have that. And
I have
know
that. I have that.
you haven't been in the pool since Hector was a pup.
Well,
but
no, I don't like
you would
pools.
love it.
I'm not a big pool fan.
You
I like
don't
the
like-
ocean.
Yeah,
I like the ocean.
you're a big ocean.
I am a
dweller.
big ocean
Mhm.
fan. Well, come on. When we go to the ocean together, do I ever get out of the ocean when I'm there?
When do we go to the ocean together?
We've been a couple times.
In 10 years.
We've been a couple
We've
times.
been a couple times in
But
10
no,
years.
I mean, when I go into the ocean with you,
Yes,
it's very difficult to get me out of the ocean, isn't it?
because you're drowning.
No, because I love it.
Okay.
I do. I love it.
Let's talk to Chelsea.
Well, let me just
I
tell
want to
about
talk to
let's,
Chelsea.
like set the show up first.
Okay, let's set the show.
So we got a great
I'm
show for you
rushing.
today. We have our first guest. Well, we're going to have Chelsea Darnell join us in a minute for our Hollywood scene,
Hollywood talk.
our Hollywood talk. Then we've got Feda Almaliti talking about being a parent during this COVID
Parent
situation.
perspective.
Amazing lady.
I met Feda at the wonderful Pixar event
Yes,
in Emeryville.
that's right.
Mhm.
And I've known Feda for oh there she is. I've known Feda for quite a while.
Yeah.
And the strangest thing is happening.
Are you having a freak out?
I don't know. We have like people like signed on, like waiting in our waiting room
that you don't know who
that
they
I
are?
don't know who they are. I mean, I know
Just
Feda's
don't
there,
click
and
them.
I know that Chelsea's
We've
there.
had some X-rated adventures in Zoom.
But
so
I mean,
don't
it's
click
crazy.
them.
This is like very strange. I don't know. It's very
Don't
weird.
click
Anyway,
those buttons.
and then we're going to hear from Dr. Gary at the very end of our show. And then we got a big announcement. Well, not a big announcement, but an announcement on a special kind of campaign and a partnership with an insurance company that, hopefully you guys can take advantage of, and it can help benefit the center. So we'll talk about that at the very end. So right now, we'd like to introduce or bring in, not introduce because you all know her, our intrepid Hollywood reporter,
Yes.
Chelsea Darnell.
Yay.
Hello.
Background. You go ahead, and I'm going to change the background.
Hi, Chels.
Hi.
I've got a Hollywood
Everyone,
background for it. There we
remind
go.
us all what the movie is tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow we're doing the Lizzie McGuire movie.
Ooh.
It'll be really fun. Every week, because we have like a regular sort of group, although anybody can join. We need as many people as we can get, but we have a thing where one member of the group chooses a movie every week. So it's everybody's. It's like it's one pick per person each week. So that's what we're doing now. But anybody can join at any time.
Right.
We'll make sure that if you're new, you get to pick a movie. We will ensure that.
Fun.
All right.
Kind of break the ice. I love, and I say this all the time, that this is a social group that we started out with Krissa, the mental health director, and I, trying to create, just the average social group. And by bringing Chelsea in as a social director, it's gone to a totally different level, because it's just this natural, organic group of kids who are doing their own thing. We're there peripherally if they need us, but it's adults and teens. And I think it's mostly teens and adults. You don't have like 13-year-olds, because it gets a little racy, because it's a real social club. And I was just talking
It
to
doesn't get racy, but
no, it can get racy. They can use some F word, C word, T word.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
I was just talking to Chelsea about how there in this, as the pandemic goes on, there's so many teens and adults, Chelsea, that call me and write me and tell me that they're really struggling. They're going through bouts of depression. Their anxiety has gotten much worse. And having these reconnects with their bros and just having this social time with you guys, they literally look forward to it every single week. So I'm so grateful to you for doing this.
I'm so glad I could give that. And that's exactly why I created Movie Chat because I wanted to create a space where people could just bond over a love of film and sort of just forget for a little bit about the goings on in the world.
Yes.
I know it's therapeutic for me, and it's super fun. And the more the merrier.
I loved Chelsea was using the analogy from Star Wars that there was something about it that was like the connection was like Moses and how God was speaking to him, and that was the Force and not Yoda, but more like
Oh wow!
And my brother Daniel, who
archetypal.
Dan,
It's archetypal.
He's always said that, and Chelsea is the only other person except for Daniel who's a Star Wars fanatic, like the biggest Star Wars fanatic, wouldn't you say, that you've ever met?
Daniel,
my brother,
yeah, for sure.
And he's the only other person besides Chelsea who got that connection.
I
thought that was very.
I didn't
very
join the Star Wars chat, but Star Wars was such an important film for me. I was 13 when that came out, and it was my summer.
Yeah.
That was my summer. My summer was standing in line watching Star Wars as many times as I could, which meant often standing in line in the morning, staying in the theater for the whole day, watching it 5 times, and then going home at night.
Just
eating popcorn and candy.
And it's interesting because it was like so different because like back then it's like going to a movie was like going to a concert. It was an event, and they didn't really check the theaters as much as they do now. Now they have video surveillance and all this stuff going. So you could kind of sneak into a theater and kind of stay there for a while when when you were there. It was great, and I gained 90 pounds that summer, and it was quite a summer.
On Milk Duds and
on Junior Mints and Reese's Pieces and Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
I actually liked Empire Strikes Back the best. I thought that was the best one.
That was my favorite one. So anyway, so Chelsea, what are you watching right now?
I think one of the last times we talked, we discussed that 90 Day Fiance was one of the big shows we were watching, right? So this week was their tell-all episodes, 1 and 2. It was the finale. And there was a lot that was exposed. So one of the couples that was on the show, they actually didn't include them in the tell-all because the American person in the couple got accused of many, many crimes. So kidnapping.
Oh no!
Oh my God, we have to see
this
that.
seems to be like an ongoing thing.
Yeah, really bad. So they didn't include him in the tell-all, but it was really interesting. Usually in the tell-all episodes, they'll have all the cast members come together in one studio. Obviously, this time they had to do it over Zoom, but it was just as crazy and just as dramatic as a regular tell-all episode would probably be, despite the fact that they're all behind their screens.
Our life has become a Zoom.
Aviva will watch that with us.
Yeah,
Aviva loves those shows.
Our life has become one giant Zoom, hasn't it? So what we've been watching. So we've been we watch like something new like every week. We'll go through something for a whole week and we'll.
I love.
But
you get so tired of me saying this every time Matt says, "What do you want to watch?" I say a scary movie. Every time I want to watch something.
Navah likes the scary movies,
and he gets tired of it. But we found out of the blue, a movie with an actor who I love named Ben Daniels. It's a TV show, but it seems like a movie.
Series.
But it's called The Exorcist, and it's a TV show. But it's like, I won't give it away. It's like it's
pretty scary.
Called The Exorcist, about an exorcist.
Is it the same plot as the movie The Exorcist? Is it
no? It's a brand new series.
But there's some
with
twists.
All new characters.
There's some twists.
Don't give it away.
No, I'm going to say. I'm just going to say there's some twists. There's some twists that tie it together.
But it's really scary, and it's really great acting, and it has Ben Daniels in it, who's awesome.
Yeah, and we're almost done with it.
Yeah.
So then we're going to move on to something new. Not sure what that is yet.
Something scary.
Something scary. I want to watch the Mike Wallace documentary. That's now
I
on
have
Hulu.
no interest.
She has
in
no
that.
interest in that. So that's probably going to be like a
I'm gonna watch Chelsea's 90 Day Fiance.
insomnia. That's going to be an insomnia kind of thing. I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and I'll watch that. So, well, Chelsea, how do people log in and do the movie chat?
So I won't say it on here, but we do have a permanent password as well as a link now. So you can join in on there. You can, all of the information will be on the Ed Asner Family Center's page. Email Shelby
Oh, I'm going to
at
cycle.
Ed Asner Family Center to RSVP.
We better change the password. Shelby just
It's
gave
all
it.
right here. It's all right
Yeah,
here.
but we don't want the password.
No, because they have to be let in. So
Oh, okay.
We're
I thought it was.
keepers. We
had
won't
so
let
many. Did
we
you
won't
have
let anybody who's supposed to be here.
so you can't get in unless you actually
Okay, good.
like say
Or you can
say who you are.
or you can email Shelby at.
You got to
at
give
Ed
the
Asner.
secret knock. No, I'm kidding. You just got to let her. You got to email Shelby. And here is Shelby's email is right there. Shelby at edasnerfamilycenter.org.
So
Email her.
Watch tomorrow at 7 p.m. Chelsea Darnell, Social Director for the Ed Asner Family Center. And it's so much fun. And even if you feel a little shy, you can turn off your camera. And after the couple of times, you're going to be one of the group.
We just like the company. We just like the company. We like seeing faces, but if you don't want to show your face, we just like the company. We just like to know you're there.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye. So, all right. Very cool. Movie chat.
Shelby
Lizzie
likes
McGuire.
The Exorcist.
Lizzie McGuire. Email Shelby at edasnerfamilycenter.org. Okay.
Was that your Southern accent?
That was my Southern accent. That Southern drawl.
Oh my God.
Hey there, Navah.
Oh my God.
How are you? So I think it's time to get serious.
Okay, let's get serious.
Although I don't think Feda's really that serious. I think she's got a funny side to her.
No, totally.
She's a funny lady.
She's very funny.
And she's great to talk to. And she's shaking her head no now. But I'm going to prove that you're funny.
Yay.
You're a funny lady. Hi, Feda. How are you?
Uh-oh.
Can you talk to me? Uh-oh. You know what? I'll tell you what.
Oh, you know what?
I'm back.
There you
Yes,
are.
I saw that. I saw that.
See, she's funny. I
That
told
was
you.
me last night.
That's right.
God, I'm terrified of Zoom. I have like Zoom PTSD.
Right.
Because I always am thinking like, you actually did walk, not naked, but I'm always thinking like, Eddie's always naked. So I'm always thinking like, I'm going to be doing
I'm
a
never
serious
naked.
Zoom. and
Never.
One of the kids is going to, or I'm going to have my mic on when I don't know. I have Zoom phobia.
So, Feda,
Yeah.
your tag says crazy autism mom.
Yep. I've
You
been
have You have to explain that to us.
Well, I know a lot of people that think autism moms are like a subset of human species, right? Like we're wired differently. we're like mama bears, things like that. And we have to advocate for our kids. So when we, start advocating very hard, they're like, oh, she's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why crazy mom.
I've known you for many years. I've marched in Sacramento with you, or I've been in Sacramento with you, and spoken in Sacramento with you.
Yeah.
Actually, Navah thinks that was my best speech.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I was fiery.
We had just gotten into one of the biggest fights we've ever had.
We had, and
I think you were using
it provided
all of that.
the juice that I needed.
I need to remember that when you need to talk again.
No, you don't. You don't need to remember that. So you're very involved politically. You're actually a tremendous advocate for families and individuals with autism. Let's talk a little bit about that role and why you advocate. You have a son. Let's talk a little bit about that. What drives you?
Well, the love of my child, first and foremost, and discrimination against people with special needs.
Mm-hmm.
Because, just let me start with this. My son was very much like a lot of other kids. that got diagnosed with autism. You know, doctors don't want to diagnose, don't compare your kids, boys develop differently, you know, all of that. So I started advocating right from the beginning, not even knowing that I was actually, you know, doing it, right? And I was like, hey, lady, to another doctor, I'm not leaving here until you tell me what's wrong with my kid, right? So I did the MChat, and she's like, I think your kid has autism. And pawned me off to the regional center. There's a lot of punting in the autism funding.
Yeah.
There is.
There's a lot
There definitely is. I remember, you know, when Will got his diagnosis, the lady, the doctor that I use that word lightly, the doctor that was that gave him the diagnosis said, oh, he'll never graduate high school. He'll never work. He'll never live on his own. And there you go. And then she sent me out.
Now have a great day.
And then she sent me out in my car, and I'm sitting in my car, and I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, what do I do? You know, and you probably have the same similar kind of thing.
A total opposite.
Really, with Eddie?
Total opposite.
Well,
no, I had Wolfie, who kind of, he had all like autistic like
signs.
Yes, thank you. But he was talking weirdly early, walking early, so he kind of like passed.
Right.
And I was involved with Israel. You know my brother Israel, Feda from the Surface Healing.
I watched the documentary actually.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So my experience with autism was only with severe nonverbal autistics. And so I thought, honestly, I'd never seen somebody like Wolfie, who's my older son with autism. And, you know, I thought, well, yes, he has his fingers in his ears all the time. And I have to keep him on my boob 24 hours a day, and he cries. But then I had Eddie, who was even brighter than Wolfie, one of the most famous doctors in the world. I won't say his name on camera, said twice, 2 different times, a year apart, I will put my license on the line that this kid does not have autism. And Eddie, you'd say his name and his head would snap to you, and he'd say, oh, he's like Einstein. He doesn't talk. And he's the,
well,
and
Einstein arguably was autistic. I mean,
absolutely. So Autism Speaks had a commercial, and it was a kid saying, it was 2 parents, like all, you know, serious. And this kid was putting cans, stacking cans. Literally, I walk into the kitchen and there's Eddie, 3 years old, maybe a little older, and he's stacking cans up. And I just went, because my ex-husband was convinced that both the boys did not have autism. And it turned out they both had autism, but a different type of autism. And so it's you know, and it's every single kid is so different. I mean, every experience.
It is. Everyone's different. And you're like I said, you're an incredible advocate. You're working with Jill Escher at the National. I'm going to get this wrong. I'm sorry.
Then don't say it.
I'm going to let you say it.
National Council on Severe Autism.
Thank you. And I think that's a worthy cause, because we had Jill on a couple of weeks ago, and that's, you know, it's an area that doesn't get a lot of, it's not highlighted a lot. They don't have the advocates that the other parts of autism have. And so maybe talk a little bit about your mission.
Well, first of all, I just wanted to like follow up on kind of what Navah was talking about the different forms of autism.
Yeah.
You know, I have my son, Mohammed, who's very severely autistic, not functionally nonverbal, behavioral issues. Autism is a spectrum. And even though they don't call that anymore, but it is a spectrum. And you have kids like here going to law school, and then you have kids all the way down here. And Mohammed's part of the 20% that's the most severe. So that's the only autism that I knew.
Right.
Turns out my oldest son got diagnosed with Asperger's.
Oh,
This
wow.
is like 10 years later. I had no idea.
I didn't even know that, Feda.
Yeah, I kicked myself. Oh my gosh. If I could tell you, like the stories, and then he got diagnosed. You know, when I was just dealing with my youngest son, I used to hear parents complaining, other parents of higher functioning kids, about how they can't get play dates, things like that. And I used to think like, please, I'm wiping my son's, poop off the wall, right? But then after I had my older son, I do understand both perspectives.
Absolutely.
My other son, Mohammed, might not care if he has autism or things like that, or is not aware. But my son, he's very aware, and he knows he's different, and that's caused him depression and things like that. So again, my oldest son is going to medical school. He has an IQ of 163, but he's going to die crossing the street. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Like that's.
I don't need to laugh, but I understand what you're saying.
It's Wolfie.
Totally.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Wolfie. That sounds exactly like our number 3 Wolfie.
Yeah.
Where he just, it's his head is in the clouds, and yet academically but I don't know if you heard what we were saying about Chelsea. Chelsea is super high functioning. I've known her. She was in a tiny little day school with my kids. I've known her since 2nd grade. And what she said to us is, all these people are creating social clubs for autistics and special needs people. But they're not asking us what we want. So I thought it was very important that we have a social director who is on. And, a lot of the kids that she's dealing with are severely depressed because of the pandemic and being away from their crowd and just the social disconnect. Even kids like Wolfie, Wolfie, very not antisocial, but just in his own world, 24 hours a day, his headphones. They miss this regularity, and it's so important to have these things for. Matt's playing with his thing, and you're
doing technical stuff.
Oh, he's doing tech. But I think it's so important that we say every perspective is right and every perspective is different, because nobody knows what anybody else is dealing with. I know our friend, and I know Kate Movius. She posted a really beautiful article about how it's not, but it's. Feda got kicked. That's why.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, you have me up again. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Take you off there. There we go.
Did you read the article?
Did I read which article? Sorry.
So Kate posted this beautiful article. Yeah, about it's not pretty, and it's not the good doctor, and this isn't what people want to see.
Yeah. Right.
But these are the things that are day-to-day living of people with children who are severe nonverbal and have just the day-to-day things that we can't even comprehend. And it's almost like people, just like Jill was saying too, people don't want to even think about it because it's easier to not think about it.
Yeah, because it's not cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's we don't take pretty pictures. Right?
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And the more we can talk about getting support for those families, I know I have a lot of friends and moms who write to me, and the pandemic has put them into really dangerous situations because they're all locked up together. A lot of times they can't even go out. They're in apartments, whatever. And the behaviors have intensified where they become physical. A lot of, it's been very difficult and 1,000 times more difficult for those families.
Well, I know, the thing that drives me crazy about when people talk about severely autistic people and they observe them is the fact that they think that there's no intelligence there. And I think, the most profound thing I've learned about autism is that intelligence is always there. It's assume intelligence. You have to assume intelligence in every individual on this planet, because if you don't do that, you're not human.
Intelligence, I'm sure there's a lot of intelligence, but it might be hyper-focused on one area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so I it's based on motivation, right?
Well, and it's like I was talking about this with someone the other day. It's like the notion that empathy is not alive in autism. There's no empathy in autistic people, which is the most erroneous statement you could ever make.
Every kid is different. Every kid is different. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes when I cry, if I have something, and I've been crying a lot during this pandemic. Oh my God, cannot be understood enough. Seriously, going through a pandemic with a kid with autism, so it's hard to the pandemic. You add the layer of autism, makes it harder, and I'm going through a divorce. Actually, it makes it even harder. So I'm sorry. Like, I've been having. Oh yeah. Well, autism parents, a lot of them get divorced. In any case, so sometimes, like, I'll cry, he'll come to me and he'll touch my face, and sometimes he'll laugh because he doesn't know how to feel. It'll be laughter, So, and he understands, I would say, almost everything we say, and he's functionally nonverbal. He's very severe. He goes to a school that's the most restricted school, right? He'd have to drive an hour each way just to get to his school. Okay. Yeah. That's how it is. And I remember I was talking to the ABA team and saying, hey, I wonder if Mohammed, would like doing this, right? And then he was at the couch, was like, no. So I was like, you want to get involved in treatment planning now,
Yeah.
Well,
that's a lot. That's a lot to be going through during this.
That's a lot. We suck it up because we have to do it for our kids. And I know that this too shall pass, as they say, but we need to keep advocating for our kids, because within even this environment, about letting kids back into school, when is that going to happen? A lot of districts are bringing back their mod to severe kids first. We're triaging our needs because our kids are entitled to an education. And that's the thing, is all children are entitled. But because the history of institutional discrimination against people with disabilities, that's why there's laws like IDEA. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree with you.
And okay,
Feda, you just said something that I don't want to go too far before I ask you about this. You said that has there already been a decision made about the fall for your kids' school?
Yeah, so they've made a decision about the fall, like to start for everybody August 21st. And there's a bunch of school districts and private, non-public schools that are opening July 6th. Wow. I mean, there's a district in Northern California that's been running the Mod Severe pilot program for 5 weeks now in Marin County.
Right.
There's a district in the Central Valley that never closed. Okay.
Wow. So they're opening up, or they're not closed. But they're opening up.
Yeah.
In July. And we're not even.
August 21st.
No one really knows what's happening. The one thing that I kind of keep coming back to during this pandemic is I think it's the most chaos I've ever seen anywhere.
Of course.
And especially we haven't heard anything about schools around here. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, a lot of kids aren't even getting services, but the districts are still getting funded. I find it really ironic that I have to do all the work and other parents have to do all the work, right?
Well, that's a good question. Where's that money going?
Well, it's going to the districts because, you have to keep them afloat. So there's somewhere for kids to come back, regional centers doing the same thing, right? But there are not enough supports for our kids. My son is not sitting on the computer for the last 2 days. He doesn't want to do his distance learning. Right. So right. I told him, I asked him, are you cutting class, Mohammed? Right?
Wow. So very appropriate behavior there.
It is appropriate behavior. Yeah. Yes. So he's a teenager.
That's right.
People need to remember, there's autism and then there's teenager.
Yes.
And so there's that. One thing that people don't really understand in the general ed community, and we're dealing with them, is why special needs kids need to go back. All kids have regressed, had some regression.
Yes, 100%.
It's not the most optimal model, but our kids have regressed even more. And then on top of that, they have recoupment issues. So it's going to take them even longer to get it back.
Yes,
And
100%.
again, the laws that support our kids, are very clear, and districts, they don't like it. There's still words like encroachment, right? Like taking somebody else's, money. But the thing is, what they need to realize is they are all our children.
Yes.
100%. And
it's just like after a summer break, it's so hard for the kids to get back into the routine. Now it's like everything is just, there is no guideline for what we're going to see when the kids go back. I can't even fathom how, out of sorts they're going to be, because their routine is totally, I think the greatest part of your, the article they did on you and Mohammed was it said something like, my child is completely confused, because like you say, these guys need regularity and routine more than anybody. And a lot of the kids do year-round school even. I mean, they do full on,
of course.
Yeah. So now it's just like they don't know what end is up. They're completely out of their realm, and we're all out of their realm. I mean, I was saying, the online learning was the hardest thing I personally have ever done in my life. I was almost in tears every day, because it's just so frustrating to have to sit and
work.
Redirect. No, I mean.
But I mean, at work, you have to work. You have to.
I'm working from home with the kid.
Exactly.
And then Eddie has severe ADHD on top of his autism. So it's like everything that he could find to distract himself, he will. Yeah. So I literally have to sit there crouching and just like redirecting him, or else he won't, it's nuts. The whole thing is nuts.
Right? It is. Imagine, again, back to school districts, I really make some kind of call to action here, take this opportunity. Yeah. The reason that our kids are actually getting the education they need, as we said, because of the laws, right? IDEA. Yeah. And there was a recent Supreme Court case that said they don't just have to be educated, they have to have meaningful education.
Yeah. Exactly.
That supports social, emotional, academics, everything, right?
Yeah.
But that's only up until their 22nd birthday or their 18th or their 23rd birthday.
And then they fall off the cliff.
And they fall off the cliff, the proverbial cliff, which they do. And I really want to take this opportunity again, is to let parents know that we need to advocate for adult services. Because while we're entitled to a meaningful education, our children, there is no law that entitles them to a meaningful life.
Yeah.
And
absolutely. As
you say, all kids with autism are different. Well, the one thing they have in common is they all grow up, right?
Yeah.
Joe, all going to get older.
Joe Montana was on the show last week, and he was talking about the fact that your children are children for 18 years or 22 years. Sorry, 22 years, and they live until they're in their 80s, 90s. There's no reason for them not to. So, and they're adults for all for much longer than they are children. So, it's essential that at some point we have some legislation and movement in the world of adult services, because it's ridiculous that you get to 22, especially now that you've got all this massive influx of people who are reaching the age of 22.
Absolutely.
That you get some legislation that's going to protect them as adults. It's essential. It's essential. So, and that's something that you and Jill, through the organization you're in, you guys are advocating for that. And I know you've been advocating for that forever.
Right.
So you were very early on the bus.
Yeah, but it's a complete system. I mean, we have to get everyone to step up. We have to get insurance companies, or Medi-Cal actually, to fund the services past the age of 21. Okay, that's what we do. Insurance companies to continue funding medically necessary things. The more access we can have to our private insurance to get the treatment for our kids, the less burden it is on the system. We just go as much as we can through our insurance, and then we go to generic resources. When ABA programs when autism mandate, which you talked about, became law, it saved the regional center millions of dollars. It saves school districts millions upon millions of dollars.
Yeah, and it created a massive headache for everyone because of insurance, because now you've got co-pays and you've got all this situation. So it took something that was free for all families.
Yeah.
It was for the most part free, and it turned it into something that cost maybe $75, a visit.
Yeah.
The whole thing to me, when that happened, when insurance started paying for behavioral intervention, I thought, what the heck's going on here? This doesn't make any sense, and it still doesn't make sense.
I mean, I have a little bit of a different take on it.
Okay.
First of all, when you go to your doctor, you pay a copayment, right? So through insurance, all services have copayments. I don't know how, as parents, we forgot we need to pay copayments, but that's fine. You pay what's the copayments? If you have Medi-Cal as a secondary, that will cover it.
Yeah.
Not everybody does. But let's say you're paying it out of pocket, then it's only up to your annual out-of-pocket maximum.
Right.
So there's that. You're getting actually more intensive services because the standard of medical necessity is higher than what's educationally appropriate.
Right.
So, and now regional centers are helping because it's better for them to pay the copay, right, or the annual out-of-pocket maximum than to pay for the whole program.
Of course. Of course. So
that's what I think. It's not the biggest issue at this point, but I do realize how it could be an issue. But if you're a low-income family, you're probably, I think it's 60% of kids in California are covered by Medi-Cal.
Exactly. And
if you remember hang on, I want to just say something. If you remember when we went to get the mandate, advocacy is so hard. When we went to get the mandate, we tried to go for all the Medi-Cal kids and the children of the government employees, CalSTRS. It was very hard. I mean, it was very hard just to get private insurance to pay, which would have no impact on the fiscal budget whatsoever, and will project a cost savings. But they wouldn't do it. So we had to make a decision. Are we going to do it or not? But what we vowed to do is to come back to those kids because now there's discrimination, So advocacy is kind of, we know our kids need it, things like that. And we just, the laws that we pass are not the ones that I want, not the ones that the senators want. It's the one that we can live with.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to make those decisions.
Right.
Feda, I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on our show. And you're always refreshing to chat with because you're so darn intelligent. And on top of it.
Well, not bad for a girl who doesn't have a high school diploma.
Nice.
Well, bravo. We will
That's
be
my kind of girl.
Exactly.
Right? He teases me because
I don't tease her. I don't tease you.
I have very unusual background learning.
She does. She has. You've seen the documentary.
Yes, I saw the documentary.
Well, I hope things get easier for you. I've been there, and let me know if I can help you with anything that you're going through right now because it's a big load you have right now. It's a big load. Well, and I'm thinking about you.
And you're always welcome on our show.
Yes,
Thank
but
you so much.
just reach out if you need help. I've been there. I'm basically a lawyer myself. I've been through it so much.
A lawyer and a doctor.
Yeah, I think I'm a lawyer and a doctor.
Can't top that. Well, again, thank you guys so much. Thank you for doing
Thank you
this.
so much.
Feda,
And
we'll talk soon.
all
Hope
right,
to visit you guys again very soon. I love it up there.
bye, guys.
Bye,
Take care.
Feda.
That is amazing.
I think she's brilliant, and I think that how do we help her? How do we help her get, because that's the main thing is like, how do we change these horrible.
Well, we gotta keep reporting on it and keep pushing. And
but why do they stop at 22? I still don't understand that. If you have
because
kids
that's when
who are
that's
severe,
when they deem the.
but I mean, can't they make
service down.
exceptions for the
No.
specific 20%?
I mean, look, no,
There's
they
a
can't do that
20%,
really. They
but
can't really
those
do that.
20% need it enough to make an exception.
Well, what happens is you switch over to state disability, and that
IHS.
No, SSI.
SSI.
But I think that's what it's
The
called.
whole thing is just such a racket.
It's then you're in a situation where you're really in a horrible situation because you can't earn money, no money, because if you earn money, you stop with the disability.
And I know our friend Joe
it's very little money.
Joanne was always advocating for kids, especially the more impacted, to really be a part of her works program and have a job and have confidence and get a paycheck and it totally derails them from getting their support, you're saying.
T. Lynn Lewis says, "Oh, wow, I thought our system in Canada was difficult. No, our system, I think, is much more like confusing at times.
Plus, they have a foxy PM, right? Anyway, let's bring Gary on because he's might have to go back.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Can you hear us, Gary?
I can hear you.
We're doing well. We're wearing the Ed Asner Family Center mask, which I'm glad to see. Good to see you doing that. It looks pretty cloudy in Washington.
It was pouring. You must have brought the sun out.
Oh.
Navah brought the sun out. It wasn't me.
It's been terrible today.
So Gary, we have you on.
We have a topic though that we've been hitting around, and it's kind of gone throughout the community, and it's brought a new wave of kind of panic to our community, Gary, which is this article that I sent you that says that individuals with neurological or developmental disabilities are more susceptible to the coronavirus and get hit harder by the coronavirus.
Correct.
What do you think about that?
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, and that's what I was saying. I think I totally agree. Yeah, I read that one, and then I looked up a couple of others. The thing about that is you have to remember is what kind of environments are they in? Mm-hmm. What are they able to wear or not wear, personal protective wise? How's the hand washing? All of those things make a big difference. I know around here, I looked up a couple things that we had here. And when you look at like even the family homes that house 3 or 4 individuals, they're in close contact. They have a caregiver coming in from outside that, let's say, went to a store, picked it up, brings it home. Now you've given it to one. And again, the whole viral load thing we talked about, you're in those close quarters.
Yeah.
They're really going to pack that virus in there. If they have a fever, they're shedding the droplets. You're going to spread it to everybody in that household. So they're going to pick it up exponentially. They're not going to be wearing the mask because, as we've talked before, they don't want to wear a mask. The hand washing, being on top of those things where they're touching, I think they're just a lot more susceptible. And then you have to look at underlying conditions. What else do they have? Autoimmune, some other things that may be going on, and they're picking it up at a much greater rate in those smaller communities.
Definitely our kids, especially our younger kids, but our kids have a hard time with hygiene. They have a hard time, impossible is a better word, from keeping their hands out of their mouth, out of their nose, out of their, it's very difficult. And it's especially difficult. And that's why I literally have not taken Eddie anywhere since we started all this Michigas. He waits in the car, I go in or whatever, not alone. Matt's in the car, but just because I know Eddie and he can't help himself to touch something and then put it on his face, or he'll wear a mask and then he'll put it to here, or he'll just take it off. So I can't, I don't even take those chances, but I know so many kids that when I envision them following the rules, it's not even a possibility for them.
And that's a problem because, we've been like going back and forth arguing about that nonstop. Is that
we're just arguing nonstop, Gary.
What do you do?
What do you think about that as far as when you talk about you go in a store or whatever, you leave him with somebody else, you're still coming in contact with that.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to know what you're bringing home. And it's the same thing when you were talking about that they're getting it at a more higher rate. They're sheltered from that. but you're bringing it back, or these family homes are bringing it back, or an institution's bringing it back, kind of like you see in the nursing homes. I think the nursing homes are a great example of that. It's the same kind of thing.
Absolutely. He's talking about the nursing homes.
No,
versus the
100%.
residents.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I mean, there's all these states now that are spiking, and you're seeing more and more cases.
Well, Gary called this a month ago.
But it's not. But from what I'm reading, this isn't the second wave. This is a continuation of the first wave, and they're saying the second wave is not going to hit until September. So
that'll be when we see the flu next. The second wave may come along because you're going to have everybody immune deficient. They're going to be down because of everything else that's already going on. But this one's still the first, because you haven't seen that plateau in a lot of areas. And then as they released all these restrictions, more people are coming in contact, more people are out there. Testing's getting better, so you are seeing a bunch of that. But I mean, it was like we were talking with Chandler about Disneyland. I mean, there's even a petition out there to stop them from reopening.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because, think about, I can't even explain it. How do you keep people from coming in contact in a park like that?
You
or
can't.
in a big environment like that. You can't. I mean, you're going to be walking around, you're going to be touching things. They can't wash constantly.
We were talking
we're going to see more.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday, and it's it's at some point
there's two sides to this story, though, because if we were talking about any other place in the whole world, we would say we could be reasonable, but there are Disney fanatics like myself who not saying I'd risk my life, but you get pretty close to that when you think about Disneyland and how much you miss Disneyland. I mean, that's just where we'd go for our birthdays, you know, and the idea that
it's like the malls here. I mean, think about all the malls as they start to open. You're going to have people that you try to stand 6 feet apart, but you're still passing. You may bump.
Absolutely.
What's it gonna take to get one person sick and then start transmitting that? And as we talked, it goes from 1 to 10 real quick.
Well, let me ask you a question. How do you give good advice to people when you can't see anyone following good advice? So
that's the toughest part. I think it's about the good hand washing, the being safe. And I still say the same thing. When we started the quarantine, we didn't have a vaccine. We don't have a treatment. We're going to try to end it with no vaccine and no treatment in place. What's the difference? I think we still need to be so vigilant in how we do this. And again, a lot of people are taking it now more complacent because they're tired of being cooped up. I think everybody is. I'm certainly tired of wearing this, being out here in the rain. But it's only going to take one of your friends to get it. And then you go, oh my God, look what happened. And they're not believing that. There's a lot of people that aren't believing that.
I agree, because it is that bad, isn't it?
It is in many places, but these little isolated pockets, I mean, when you're talking like here, we're very small. So until somebody that came from a big community that really has it brings it, these people are thinking, oh, it's not that big a deal. But it's like in your area, there's so many pockets of it that it's only going to take one person moving to open it up in another area.
And it's interesting,
they went mask free in Orange County.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen there?
I wonder if that would include Disneyland, Gary.
Well, I'm sure. And they're saying, though, on the website for that, they were saying that you would have to wear a mask, have your temperature taken, do all those precautions. But I still can't see how you can stand that close in the kind of lines that we know are there.
Yeah.
For all of the things that they want to do.
I don't see it either. And then, so you've got Arizona spiking. Arizona, 110 degrees in Arizona. It's hot in Texas right now. So you've got these, a lot of people said originally that heat would kill it. Heat will end it.
Once it gets warm.
Heat will stop it. It's not stopping.
I think heat will slow it down. It's not going to end it. The new UV lightning treatment, remember how we were talking about if you burst it with there's one called the lightning, and they're saying that they can clean like elderly homes and things like that, the rooms, in 6 minutes, because they're exposing it to almost like a strobe light UV. And it's so powerful. They close the door, set it off. It's killing it within 6 minutes.
Wow.
That would be nice. So that would be good.
And can the human eye take that?
No, that's why they close the doors. Everybody's out of it.
And the human skin can't take it either, can it?
Correct. I don't think you'd want to stand in front of it.
Okay. So,
I wonder if people are buying those for their homes.
Well, they're showing, they were even showing this morning that they were putting them in hotel rooms before guests got there leaving it on until the room was ready, shutting it off, taking it out to try to clean the room that way.
Did it make the room nice and warm when you walked into it?
I don't know. I just saw that this morning. It was pretty interesting though to watch that. If you get a chance, take a look at that. Lightning UV.
I will check that out.
Oh, that's
I
crazy.
definitely will. Well, Gary, thank you for bringing us up to speed and letting us know what's going on.
I wish you were with us on Sunday.
I wish I was down there all the time.
I know you do.
You're a good friend, Gary.
Tired of being in the rain.
Ugh, my bones hurt just thinking about it.
We love you and thank you for your good advice.
Love you too.
Thank
you guys take
you,
care. All right.
Okay.
See you
Bye.
soon.
So
It's scary.
it is. It's very scary. And
I
it's
mean-
unnerving because it's the unexpected. It's all the unexpected. It's all the unknown. And
Yeah.
we don't know what's going on. And it's it produces fear. It produces fear in me, you know.
That doesn't take a lot.
I'm scared.
I'm sorry. I'm
I don't know. So great show today. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
I want to say that before we go, we've started a partnership with Liberty Insurance companies, and
Liberty.
if you
That's the
need
same
insurance out there, if you need insurance, you want to give a little bit something
They
to
do
the
everything.
you want to
too.
give a little bit of something to the center.
Business insurance,
You can do
commercial insurance,
auto
home
insurance, health insurance, business insurance,
everything. They
any
do
kind of
everything.
insurance, life insurance. We get 25% of that premium.
That's awesome.
So, and I'm going to play a little commercial here on the way out about this. But for those of you, for your insurance needs, please think of Liberty and think of the Ed Asner Family Center in your insurance needs. Until next week.
Thank
we
you
will
guys for joining us.
See you next week. Keep your seatbelt on, and we'll see you next week.
We know we ask a lot from our patron and support network, and we are always so grateful for your generosity. In these challenging times, it's even harder to raise the funding we need to serve our community and achieve our goals. So we're always looking for new ways to maintain our revenue without adding additional burdens to our supporters. Today, we're excited to share a great opportunity that can really help our community and requires no additional out-of-pocket from you. We've partnered with the Liberty Company Insurance Brokers and their Liberty Cares program. Liberty Cares is simple. You already make monthly payments for your insurance needs, whether it's auto, home, or for your business. For every line of insurance you move to Liberty, they will donate 25% of the commissions they receive on your policies back to our cause. And under this special partnership arrangement, that donation will come to us again and again every year you keep your policy with Liberty. Often, you'll be able to move your insurance into this program simply by signing one form. It's that easy. The Liberty Company is one of the nation's largest insurance brokers, and they've won a number of recognitions for their excellent operations and workplace culture, so you can rest assured that you will be well taken care of. If you would like to learn more about how this new partnership with Liberty can help turn your insurance dollars into much-needed funds for our community, please visit libertycompany.com/libertycares or shoot them an email at libertycares@libertycompany.com. And please be sure to let them know that you're part of our community so that they will credit the benefit of your policies back to our organization. Your ongoing support is much appreciated, so thank you in advance.